Howdy my peeps and welcome. Today I'm going to be redrawing this picture from the first page in my sketchbook. Well, it's kind of the second, but anyways. But before we get into all of that, I would like to give a shout out to DKD, who is the comment of the week. Thank you so much for your comment. I really appreciate you all's comments, and I appreciate the fact that you even, decided to comment. I think that's really nice. So if you would like to be the comment of the week, all you have to do is comment on any video. That could have been you. Oh my goodness. I'm also on Patreon and I have an Etsy shop, so if you'd like to check those out, the links will be in the description. But anyways, I guess I want to talk about improvement and how it's kind of a slow process. Well, I don't know. It depends, I guess. It depends on whether you do really like if you sit down and do like studies and stuff and like guided, is that the word, purposeful practice, I guess. For me, to be completely honest, I don't really do that. I don't really sit down and like practice with a plan in mind. And I really should, and I should also use references more often, but I don't. Oh my goodness. And I don't know. For me, I draw for fun, so I don't really structure a lot of things too much because of that fact. But like if you were trying to improve at a faster rate, it would be wise to kind of structure your practice sessions a lot more. I'm kind of just learning as I go and just picking up little nuggets along the way, which is how I've done it for the longest time. Oh my goodness. Every now and then I will just, if I feel like there's something in particular that I want to get better at, I, will sit down and work on that thing. For example, a little while ago I was not, well, just in general, I feel like I struggle with drawing ears. Just the inner workings of that, it's like there's a lot going on in there, and I just struggle drawing that sometimes. Not sometimes, I do. So one of those times I just sat down and sketched a bunch of ears in my sketchbook. It's like things like that I do sometimes. I don't think I had a reference out, which, not wise, especially if you're trying to learn how to draw something. I think I might have pulled out a reference later, but I didn't start with one. So, do with that information what you will. I don't recommend it because, like, if you are actually trying to improve and get better at specific things and to, like, have them be accurate. But like I said, I'm pretty laid back with it all, so I don't do that. Oh my gosh. But anyways, another thing I've done before is, like, look at other artists' tutorials, just like as I come across them. I may not even like put those things into practice right away, but I will try to remember the things I see in like a video, or let's say a post or something on Pinterest. Little tips and things. You've seen those things, I'm assuming. You know what I'm talking about. So I may not, like, I'll watch those types of videos. I'll watch like tutorials and stuff. I may not like actually sit down and draw along with the person, or actually do what they say exactly as they say it. But the next time I'll draw, I'll be like, oh, let me go and try that thing that I saw. I do that sometimes, which is nice too. I feel like as far as improvement is concerned, I feel like you have to really find out what works for you. Some people may thrive in an environment where it's really structured and you do sit down with a determined idea and a plan and a little, I guess, syllabus. Maybe that's a little much. Maybe people don't actually do that. But you know what I mean. Like, sit down with like a determined idea, like I'm going to learn how to draw, like, say for example, hands, and I'm going to pull up a bunch of references for hands, and I'm going to watch tutorials for hands. Maybe some people thrive in that type of environment, and I'm sure a lot of people do. I know for me, like, as far as like actual schoolwork is concerned, I thrive in those types of environments where it's like structured, but like for drawing, I don't. So, you really have to just see what works for you. Like, if you do think that, sitting down with determined idea is what works for you, then definitely go for that and definitely do that. But if you are like me and doing that kind of stresses you out a bit and kind of takes the fun out of it a little bit, then don't do it. There's really like no pressure, and like with art in general, like and I learned this. I took an introduction to art class. It was required for my major, so I took it. But you know, it was interesting anyway, and I took it because I wanted to. But anyways, that class really taught me that, you know, there are no rules here. And like, good art it's subjective, so just draw what you want, you know, and it doesn't have to be quote unquote good. It doesn't have to look like something in order for it to be good. It doesn't have to be anatomically correct for it to be good. You know, just as long as you have fun with it, I suppose, you know. And that's kind of my approach to it. I feel like it doesn't have to be so structured. Just like the process of creating art doesn't have to be so structured. Like, you don't have to learn all of the things if you don't want to, especially if you are just doing it for fun, like I am. Like, I draw for fun. Like, I want it to be fun, and, you know, making it into this thing that has to be perfect takes the fun out of it for me. So I don't do that, you know. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that topic. I hope those tips were helpful. There's no structure to this video. See, I don't really structure things. I guess that's just how I do things. Oh my goodness. I rarely structure these videos. Sometimes I'll do like little notes. I didn't write any notes for this one. I just kind of sit down and just say whatever is on my mind. So yeah, that's all I have to say about that. So I'm going to talk about this drawing now. Like I said earlier, it's a redraw of that drawing that I showed you at the beginning of the video. Because I had this idea. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm going to make this sketchbook super fancy. And the first page, in quotations, because it's technically not the first page, but I was like, I'm going to make it a fancy drawing. And by fancy drawing, I mean I just colored it. Because with my sketchbooks, I don't really add a lot of color into them. I used to. And you can see that in last week's video where I did a sketchbook tour of a couple of my old sketchbooks. Speaking of which, I am finished with this current sketchbook, so that will be next week's video, inshallah. So stay tuned for that. Anyways, I don't really use a lot of color in my sketchbook these days. I did a few colored things in this one, you know, just to kind of spice things up a bit. So that was like the whole reason why I did like a drawing that's colored at the beginning of the sketchbook, because I was like, it will be a nice little, you know, entry thing that I can't find the word for it. I hope you know what I mean. Just like an introductory thing. I don't know the word. But anyways, and after I drew it, I was like, something is off. Something is not quite right. Her mouth is just, it's low on her face, like it's on her chin. And that really bothered me right after I drew it. So I actually, on the actual first page, traced over that drawing, because this paper, oh my goodness, it's a lot thinner than I would like. I like to use both sides of the page, but it's a little too thin for me, so I didn't do it with this one. But because it is thin, I was able to trace that drawing and correct that mistake, but I did not color it because, you know, I had already been there, done that, didn't want to do it again. So the actual first page is the uncolored, corrected version of that first drawing. So that's a thing. I still like the colors and stuff. It's just that little thing. Her mouth is just a little lower than it should be, you know, and it'd be like that sometimes. Mistakes were made. But anyways, so I was, I guess, flipping through my sketchbook a little, was that last week? A couple of weeks ago? At some point I was doing that, and I was like, you know what, it would be cool if I redrew that drawing at the end of the sketchbook too, to kind of close it out, you know. And also I feel like it's a nice way to see how my art has improved slightly. I started the sketchbook back in September, It is June 30th at the time of me recording this, so I'm not gonna even attempt to math right now, because it's like sometimes I could do really good mental math and I could do it really fast, but sometimes I can't. And you know, I think one of those times where I can't is now, so I'm not. But anyways, I was referring back to the first drawing a lot while I was coloring this, except when I colored her sweater. I didn't refer back to it. Well, I did a little bit, but it's not an exact replica. But I'm actually looking at it now. I think I prefer the colors of the sweater in the new drawing and the pattern. You know, it'd be like that. I just realized I forgot some beads in her braids, but that's fine. I also shaded it a little bit differently. Normally I will put down the base color and then shade with the shade color. But I noticed for the first drawing I used like a purple to shade, so I was like, wow, that's neat and interesting. So I did that this time, but I put the purple color down first, and I tried to blend it a little bit, like blend it out just a little bit with a slightly lighter purple. Not slightly lighter purple, it is a lighter purple, but that did not work out so well for me, because that bad boy is very, very dry, and it's been dry for a while. I keep talking about how dry my markers are. I really need to just go ahead and purchase the refills, and I have them in a cart. They're ready to go, so hopefully soon. But if you'd like to help me out with that, I'm on Etsy and Patreon. That's what I'm using those coins for, hopefully, inshallah. But anyways, this is how the drawing turned out. I really like how it turned out, and my style has improved the slightest bit, you know, over this period of time, and I think that's really neat, and I do prefer this newer drawing over the old one. But anyways, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Shout out to my patrons, Turtle Bun Buns, Ariana, Kelsey, Sister Donna 55, and Zachary. Thank you so much for being my patron. I really appreciate you and everything that you do. Wow. My social media links are in the description, as well as links to my Coffee page, my Patreon page, and my Etsy shop if you're interested in that. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and please enjoy the rest of your day, my peeps.